we think about the impact of an ageing population. And what that means for our clients, who are employers and companies in the UK, is that increasingly they will have an older workforce. Now, I have to say I'm slightly put off by the fact that the definition of an older workforce is over 50, and 50 doesn't really feel that old, but there we go, that's the government definition.
Maybe we can change that slowly.
Yes, exactly. Well, frankly, it probably will, as we look at the various pressures on the workforce. And there's I'll slightly digress in that if we look at the UK population, we have a growing population and an ageing population as we have baby boomers coming through to retirement. Our working population is not growing to the same extent as our total population. So that's the challenge of how do you
bridge them,
yes, and support the cost of that. But secondly, for employers, how do they make sure they've got access to the right skills and talents? That's a major. When you ask CEOs what's on sort of top of one of their worry lists, it's quite frequently, have I got the right talent and the right skills in the right place in the world? And therefore, those are things that we're absolutely working on. So when I look at the ageing population, what gives you as an employer is you're going to have more people who are working with chronic health conditions. How do you manage that in the workplace so that you still maintain productivity and not losing lots of days off sick? How do people manage those conditions? How do you make sure you still have a good talent pipeline so that how people's careers change at different stages and that you don't get blockages? But again, for some employers, they will actually see that we have clients who they're seeing a very large proportion of the workforce intending to retire in the next 10 years, but they may be absolutely skilled engineers and crucial for their business, and they've not necessarily got the talent coming through. So those are issues that we're all aware of, and you can have a very nice, engaged conversation about the issues. Then when you get to what are the solutions, that's where we come in, and where I would use that as an example of trying to test out what are the right solutions that will help companies. Some of that might be around better analytics so that they can see where their pinch points are in their population, or other interventions around how you keep people in the workforce for longer and make them productive and happy whilst doing so, etc. So I would put that in one where you don't necessarily have to go as fast, but you might want to test along the way.
I want to tap a little bit more into this sort of the right talent and the right skill set, because you have got such a long sort of history with the industry as well, and then you speak to a number of different companies and employers. Is that a problem sort of worldwide, you would say? Yes, the short answer is probably yes, and certainly when I sit in any sort of group of my peers in the UK, there's always a lot of discussion around how we access the right talent and skills. And maintaining a good pool of talent. Now, there are things that companies can do to assist with that. Obviously, the increase in the role of apprenticeships has been a really good example of that, I think, in terms of making sure that and most big employers are active in this respect, but it also is an opportunity for how you can attract talent from slightly non-traditional backgrounds and from a more diverse background as well. The issue about talent and skills is, and there's key areas, digital skills are always in short supply, but also relationship skills. We get paid for our technical expertise and what we deliver around that, but how you do that is increasingly important in terms of the ability to develop relationships and partnerships with clients and also sell, and those are our relationship skills as well. That's really interesting. So digital skills and relationship skills, and I hear this quite often when people come and say, we really, really struggle with that. So it seems to be, again, something sort of more broader affecting a lot of industries. When you talk about digital skills, what is it exactly that you're missing, or where you think that's where we need more development?
So an honest answer is probably that that's an area of massive disruption where many people in significant business roles have got to their existing position without a digital background and a digital experience, if I could put it that way. So there is an element of gap between what leadership and sort of longer term people within the industry have done versus what we will need to do for the future. And a good example of that would be the ability to take some of the complex issues that we deal with and actually allow them to be accessed by individuals in taking decisions in a much more user-friendly way. So again, how would you decide how much should you put into your pension, how much you should save, whether there are anything else that you should be doing in preparing for your children, what you should be doing to manage your health. These are all really quite complex issues, and most people don't really want to spend any time on them. They're a bit boring. Even I think they're boring. They're actually costly to get advice on. So and you don't necessarily know where to go to get trustworthy advice. People feel a bit sceptical at times about some of the players in the financial services industry, etc. Now, if we can use the technology, the data that we have available and that you yourself can put in to create an experience where you can take those decisions and be prompted on what's the next best thing you need to do, so you don't have to sit and think, I need to plan the next 40 years. It will help you plan what's the next thing you need to do that will help you in 40 years' time. That would be a great outcome. So those sorts of, the ability to understand, to translate a vision from that into an experience and a platform for individuals.